Hi guys and girls, welcome to Canadian Immigration Channel, and this video is for those of you who are in Middle East and who are applying for a study visa to Canada and whose application was unfortunately refused. Now, let's deal with this very quickly to understand what could be done in order to attempt to rectify the situation. First and foremost, of course, no panic. We have to understand what was the real reason for your visa application refusal. Now, speaking of which, many people get unfortunately confused when they receive the standard refusal letter from officers, where officers put a check mark against potential reason for the refusal. This is not it. You have to understand it in details, right? You have to dig deeper and get an idea what exactly officer means ties to the home country, what exactly officer means when he or she says proof of funds, what exactly this officer says that he or she does not believe that you would return back home, what exactly is home. And that's specifically why we're talking about Middle East these days, right? Because you might not be a citizen of the country, you are working there, you're living there temporarily, you got a permanent resident status, which again is not necessarily your home country in this sense. Now, what we have to do, previously pre-COVID era, right, we were always able to request case notes to look deeper into the officer's concerns, to receive the written reasons for refusals, where officers put it in simple human words. What exactly went wrong? What are the points which I do not like when I'm working on the application? These days, it doesn't work, unfortunately, because of COVID, right? We have a huge immigration backlog. Officers are dealing with this backlog. They're cleaning it out. And literally, there is no one who would be working on those case notes in the allocated time of 30 days. So essentially, it would take us forever to get the case notes. Instead, we have to analyze the document. We have to look at your application now to figure out what exactly went wrong. So by analyzing the documents, by looking into the documents, by rectifying your story, we would be able to figure out what was the weakest point, what officers did not like. Next course of action is, of course, to resubmit the application, to explain your case properly. Dear officer, well, let's put it simple, right? You were not satisfied with my financial situation. I'm attaching here additional proof. I'm attaching here additional transactions history for X months in my bank statement, right? So you would be convinced that this money I have and allocated for my studies in Canada, they are not borrowed. What else? Well, I have strong ties to my home country, which is again not necessarily the Middle East where I'm living right now. Take, for example, UAE. I'm from India, I'm from Pakistan, doesn't really matter, right? I do have something in my home country. So essentially, after studying in Canada, you, dear officer, should be convinced that I would return back home, right? Because I don't have this ultimate right to return back to UAE, but I can return back to my home country and can continue working in my desired field, right? And I would be able to build this career. So bottom line here, an essential core here, right? Stop panicking. If your visa application was refused, it's not the end of the day. We have to figure out the real reasons of these refusals. We could sit on the consultation, if you will, one-on-one. You don't necessarily have to hire our services for resubmitting your application, but we could at least work together on the consultation where we would figure out what went wrong, how to make your application stronger, and then, right, you could submit your application yourself. If you want, we would be able to take your case, but that would be the first step to work on it. And in our other previous videos, we've explained what would happen if the other application is refused, right? What if the next one is refused, right? There is a potential pathway for appealing the officer's decision in the federal court if needed. But again, it's all highly individual. I tried as much as possible within the allocated time, of course, to give you an idea where to look at and where to start. We can always start with the consultation. We could sit one-on-one and discuss your case, and then moving up from there, right, we would be able to work towards rectifying it all and making sure that you would come to Canada. Stay tuned with us, and of course, subscribe for the channel.